Before we look at the techniques by which we can allow a user to upload a file to our web server, it's important that you realize that it's not a good idea to allow any user, any old user, to load any file to your web server. I recommend that you wait before you implement any kind of file upload system until you've become very familiar with the security and authentication systems, which are going to be detailed later in this title. However, it's worthwhile learning how to implement a file upload even if you're not going to put it into practice straight away. To begin with, let's create an HTML form where the user can submit a file for uploading. And we're going to call this upload. And we need, in our form, we need as the first attribute within the form tag is going to be enctype, and we want to specify multipart / form - data. In the name of the action attribute, we want to include the file name of the PHP script, in this case uploadFile.php. And we need to specify that the method is post. This won't work if the method is get. Now we need an input of type hidden, and what this is a way of including an extra piece of data without the file that we're sending, and that is max_file_size, and as you may be able to guess, that specifies an upper limit on the size of the file that the user can send. Let's say we specify 20,000, which is just under 20k, and then we're going to write the word file name, and we're going to say input name equals user file, type equals file, and that's going to be the field from which the file is sent. Then we're going to need 2 line breaks. Now, because we have an input of type file, your browser will automatically add a browse button so that the user can locate the file on their hard disk. The final control that we need in our form is going to be a submit button, and we're going to call that send. We can close the form tag, the body tag, and the HTML tag, and we can save that file. We're going to save that as submit file.html. And now let's open a new text file, and this is going to be the PHP script which will handle the file once it's submitted from the HTML page, and we're going to call that upload_file.php, and we should make sure that that tallies with what we've written here. And then we're going to write our PHP script. To save time, I'm not going to bother to format this as an HTML page, because all it's going to be doing for the moment is producing either an error message or a success message. First of all, we need this condition, which will check to see if a file has really been sent from the HTML page. If the user does not specify a file, then the user file will be set to none. Now, as well as the user file variable, another set of variables are also automatically passed on by the HTML page. These are user file name, and this is the name under which the user file appears on the user's computer, on their hard disk. And then the size, which of course is the size of the user file. These variables are automatically generated when the HTML page submits the data, which is why you can't see the place where they came from. User file type, that will specify if it's text type or a JPEG or what kind of type the file is. But at the moment we're just dealing with the user file variable, and if none is sent, then this value is automatically generated. We give an error message here and say no file specified and exit. Then we're going to use a command called move uploaded file. This is a PHP function which allows us to send the user file to a place that we specify in the second argument. And this we're going to specify a directory, and preferably this should be outside of your directory, of your web server root directory. So if we take a look on our hard disk here, I've created a directory called uploads, and that's just simply off the root of C. That's not within our document root where we've been putting everything else here. So we're simply going to put the files into this uploads directory. How we specify that is backslash to specify the root, and we'll need 2 backslashes because to make sure that the backslash is interpreted correctly rather than just the escape character, which is what PHP will assume it means. And we're going to put in the name of the directory there. I should add that we're using 2 backslashes because we're running this on a Windows machine. If we were to run this on a Unix machine, we'd be using a single /. So there's the directory, and then we put the original name that the file had when it was submitted. Now, at the moment, this is simply a command or statement. However, we can check that this has been correctly carried out by enclosing it within an if condition. Now, since every function or every statement in PHP evaluates either false or true or some other value, this one is no exception. This one will evaluate true if the file is moved successfully, and will evaluate false if it's not. So we can put another couple of messages in here. With an else statement to make sure that the file has been moved correctly. So let's save our file and we'll try that out in the browser. And our file was called submitfile.html, and here is our upload page. Now if we browse for, let's find some text file of some kind. Let's say we use this password file, and as a user we're going to send our file to the web server. Your file has been uploaded, it tells us. Now let's take a look and make sure that's really been sent. We'll have a look at uploads, and sure enough, the file that we selected has been moved by PHP to the folder we specified. I'm going to have to end this movie again by repeating my caution that file uploads should only be allowed once we're satisfied that, first of all, the user is someone that we trust, and also we should make very sure about where the files are going.